All right, well, good faith. If you want a basic context for what happened with Jerry and the church, you can go to the first intro video. I don't plan to do, quote, a long series, but I do think this ought to be its own playlist because it's a very fascinating story between Jerry's confrontation with the church. Essentially, he was a loyal member for years and years and was working on Hubbard's biography and was shocked to find out that almost every major claim that Hubbard made, aside from some very small facts, like, yes, I was born, literally almost everything he said was a lie about alleged spy work, being a Native American, you go through this, being a physicist, nothing there, nothing there. Jerry tried sincerely to find out the real truth, and again, everything seemed to be a lie. And the Scientology church did not like his attitude. They tried to, quote, handle him, to use the big speak, and he left legitimately with the documents that he can take, and they sued him to get back the documents, and they failed. And since then, he's become their number one enemy. That is not an exaggeration. You can go to his website. He has several websites, but I think technically one is with his wife, and he provides incredible amounts of documentation for his accusation, which is a nice relief because too many times ex-Scientologists speak out, but documenting what they're saying becomes more hazy. But I don't want to give the Church of Uranus, a skewed perspective, so I want to be fair to Aaron and his part in this criminal conspiracy. So let me just lay out what Jerry is saying and what I think he is not saying. So he is saying, one, Scientology, the official church, was negotiating with the IRS to get tax-exempt status because it's, quote, religion, put that in quotation marks. Again, I am not denying that religions, good or bad, can get tax-exempt status, or even Scientology. The problem is it's a criminal organization. So if they radically reformed itself, got rid of Miscavige, and restructured itself, then yes, it could apply legitimately for tax-exempt status. That is its right, good or bad. However, what they did was keep the criminal structure, basically a mafia, and say, hey, can I get a tax exemption? And the IRS was like, no. It's not that we don't want to give it to you. We do. We want to get in business with the church, but we have the Jerry problem. Don't worry, Jerry's not the only one. They had a lot of problems, but this was a massive roadblock because the courts proved, which he was able to do very easily, that they were pathological liars in a criminal conspiracy to destroy him. They were stuck. They were like, well, according to this court ruling and other court rulings, yeah, this is a fraud. So how do we get out of it? And we still don't know the exact timeline here, to be fair, but Rathbun, Rinder, and others came up with the brilliant idea. Well, the problem here seems to be we think Jerry's reliable witness or his mind is reliable. Well, we're just going to declare him insane. He's a pathological liar and madman, and there you go. We're going to nullify the court ruling. My understanding of the law, you can't just do that, but that's what the IRS did. And apparently nothing was done to check this abuse. So the IRS found a loophole to grant the church this tax-exempt status. But the problem here is, one, Jerry's not insane. So that's not correct. That's invalid. Also, this is a lie. And that's important because this entire foundation rests on a false premise. So according to Jerry, vindicating his reputation and his, whatever we call it, mental sanity would in fact destroy the church because then it would prove there's no basis for the tax exemption, right? So I just want to add a few more details before we get back to Uranus and his role in this criminal conspiracy. So the church was granted the tax exempt status in 1993. So that's the Clinton administration. A lot of people keep reporting it's Bush. It's not Bush, it's Clinton. Why did President Clinton allow this? I don't know. I honestly don't. I'm going to keep doing more digging there. But the Clinton administration signed off on this, and Tim Miscavige famously did the war is over speech, and from then on, the money poured in. So from that point on, rich Scientologists could give bazillions, yes, it's quite a large amount, to the Church of Scientology and be guaranteed a return from the IRS. So there we are, and that's what it is. And then we have the famous case of Mike Rinder, who left in 2007, who was the head of OSA, basically the equivalent of the CIA of the Church of Scientology. Let's be clear that Mike Rinder did confess to many crimes. He did admit to many wrong things with Bob Minton and several other people. And he did clearly expose many crimes of the church. Let's be very clear there. But with this particular issue, he either is incredibly stupid and not able to put 1 + 1 = 2, right? That seems a little curious. Or he knowingly is lying about Jerry. He knowingly knows that what they're saying, what the church is saying about Jerry, is simply false. He's not insane. And over again, Jerry is affirming in the interview, he tried over and over and over to contact Rinder to have an interview or to have him correct his accusations and allegations in the public record. But repeatedly, he and the Aftermath producers and others refused to let him speak over and over again. Now, speed ahead that Rinder becomes a very big celebrity, is featured in tons of documentaries, and is considered a hero by many ex-Scientologists, and somehow, curiously, even ex-Scientologists who know Jerry, know he's telling the truth, keep contacting him and saying, stop talking about Rinder. So then Rinder and Aaron have a massive crisis where Aaron gets involved in all these weird scandals, drug scandals, sex scandals, finance scandals, and Rinder initially tries to protect him, but eventually he and Claire Headley decide, this is getting too much, we can't protect Aaron anymore, so they push him off the Aftermath board, which Aaron helped co-create. And Aaron tries to get revenge on Rinder and create this weird propaganda network with Nora, Serge, and others. So that we all know. And Aaron did promise an interview with Gerry Armstrong, but it has never materialized. So we're in an impasse. And let's be very clear that Aaron was helping Rinder. Let's be very clear that Aaron publicly was attacking Jerry and calling him crazy, saying Jerry is a nutcase, doesn't know what he's talking about, he's got these weird conspiracy theories, I will not be a part of that. Now, let's be clear about what the Aaron channel, Growing Up in Scientology, does. Does it do conspiracy theories? Absolutely. Does it put out knowing false accusations? Yeah. Does it put out legit accusations of crimes with the church? Absolutely. Basically, Aaron is willing to put out almost any kind of content. The dumbest, most ridiculous content, him dancing with a pig. I am not joking with you. We literally have a video, which he made private or destroyed, where he was dancing along to a pig, part of his losing weight program. I am not joking with you. That was actual content he put out for money. So Aaron clearly has no real moral standard at all. He will put out anything for money. He says he doesn't, but he willingly will put out the most stupid garbage for money. So here is a serious topic with a serious person, a well-known activist, right? A very credible activist. And Jerry can document this. He can document almost everything he says. Obviously, there's always going to be little gaps, but as far as humanly possible, Jerry can do it. Go back to a year, certain abuse by the church, he can provide paperwork. So he has massive knowledge on this particular case. Again, I'm not here to call him a god or believe everything. I'm here, let's be critical, but he has a lot of credibility. And allegedly, Aaron wants to get rid of the tax-exempt status. And this is a guy who's willing to let the most ridiculous accusation against Rinder fly. Was Rinder working with the PDS? Is he a child predator? Is he himself a pathological liar? Is he a sellout? Is he a moron? Is he stupid? Yeah. Rinder is now everything to Aaron. He's deranged. He's a con artist. He's a criminal. He's a betrayer. Right? And he's possibly involved with sex abuse. Almost everything under the sun. Except for this. So maybe he lied to us about the IRS tax exemption. Maybe he misled us about the IRS controversy with the church. Maybe we're going to talk to Jerry about this and get some clarification. No, mysteriously here, Aaron's not interested. Okay. That's interesting. So one of the latest videos is Aaron mocking the Scientologist about an auditing session. And he's mocking how they use a doll, right? Apparently one of the sessions, you basically command a doll with Scientology commands and mocking that for money. And here's just one of many comments praising him as a man god and a North Korean Kim Il-sung dictator who should be praised. Please, do you remember hours of responding to Do Birds Fly, which got 2 likes, and Growing Up in Scientology responds, yes. There you go. We done exposed the church. David Miscavige is now in danger because Aaron verified, oh yes, I was asked for hours and hours. Do birds fly? That's his trauma and abuse. That's what he can testify in a court of law. Oh wait, he could testify that he's part of a criminal conspiracy with the IRS and the Church of Scientology to destroy Gerry Armstrong, who for decades has fought the church. Is he going to talk about that? Is he going to testify to that? No, he's not even going to sue the church. Well, that's mighty curious. I thought you were abused and a trauma victim or whatever. Well, I mean, that's what mostly he could talk about, saying, yeah, they kept asking me about birds and can they fly? Wow, that's really not going to do anything criminal against Scientology. It's not going to put Miscavige in jail. It's not going to put the top leadership in jail. But hey, Aaron's making the money, mocking the Scientologists and then playing with dolls. Yep, that's the anti-Scientology that Aaron is not doing. And there we are. But these are serious accusations because if Gerry is right, the IRS has been conspiring against him, the church has been conspiring against him, and a lot of ex-Scientologists willingly and knowingly were working with Rinder to destroy his reputation, to help the church. Let's lay it out and be very clear that Aaron and many ex-Scientologists helping Rinder were knowingly helping the church to retain its tax-exempt status. So they're saying a lot, saying, oh, I don't want that tax-exempt status. Rinder piously saying, oh, tax exemption, go away. But you're not going to talk to someone who is critical to getting rid of that tax-exempt status. He's willing to talk to a lot of former enemies. Let's be very clear. So Rinder was willing to expose many things about the church. He was willing to talk about many crimes, openly. But not this. This key area, he magically doesn't want to talk about it. Will not talk to Gerry, and neither will Aaron. And now Rinder's dead. We can tell the truth. But Aaron still doesn't want to talk to Gerry. That's mighty curious. That is mighty curious. So I guess the Church of Uranus is fighting the church, but only on very small levels that will never put Miscavige in. That is mighty curious. That is mighty curious.